What if success wasn't something you had to force, but something you were designed for? In this solo episode of Unleashed and Empowered, I'm pulling back the curtain on one of the most powerful turning points in my business, discovering human design and learning how to actually use it in business. I'll take you behind the scenes to the moment I stopped chasing strategies that felt heavy and started honoring the way my energy naturally wants to work. As a 1-3 manifesting generator with the right angle cross of contagion, I've trialed, tested, and taught everything I share today. And what I've found will shift the way you're approaching decision making, business structure, and your own sense of worth. This isn't about doing more. It's about making aligned decisions that expand your wealth, impact, and visibility without the burnout. In this episode, we'll dive into how your energy type can guide your business model and why forcing strategy will always backfire. What your Incarnation Cross reveals about the legacy you're here to lead. Why your decision-making authority matters more than any algorithm or launch plan. And why it's time to stop second-guessing your gifts and start building your business by design. So if you've ever felt stuck in someone else's blueprint, overwhelmed by all the shorts or unsure of where your true power lies, this episode is your invitation to stop playing small and start building a business that feels like home. Welcome to Unleashed and Empowered, the podcast for visionaries and hard-led entrepreneurs who refuse to shrink or settle. I'm Alice Taugs, your host, guide, and fellow traveler in the messy but magical journey of entrepreneurship, blending spirituality, energy, intuition, and AI to amplify aligned business and personal power. Through raw conversations, both solo and with inspiring guests, we explore the moments that change everything, helping you trust yourself, redefine success, and create with courage and ease. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Unleashed and Empowered. Today I thought I would start talking a little bit about human design in business, because what if success isn't something you hustle for, but something you are designed for? Now, I want to take you back to around 2000 and I believe it was 22. I'm really bad with timelines, but I believe it was around about that time when human design landed in my lap. And I may have mentioned this on the other solo episode that I did a couple of weeks ago, but in case I haven't, or in case you didn't listen to that episode, it was the time when the world was in a little bit of a different state and I had to cancel one of my retreats and I got really angry with the universe. And I said, universe, I am of service. What do you want me to do? You better have something else in store for me, because otherwise I'm getting really cross with you. And so I went onto Instagram and I started scrolling through Instagram. Yes, that was already a thing back then, just the numbing scroll. And this post landed in my lap and it was around human design. And I believe I had run my human design chart before, but the first time you look at your human design chart, you're like, what on earth is that? I have no idea what that even tries to tell me. It used language that was so foreign to me that I was like, nah, too hard. It's probably not for me. And I disregarded it the first time around. Now, second time around, it was slightly different. Because I had just cancelled another retreat, I had nothing to do. So I thought to myself, okay, why don't I have a look at this and see what it tells me? Now, ChatGPT didn't exist back then, or it existed and I didn't know it existed, whichever way. I didn't use it. So I tried to have a look at what is the system, and it became very apparent very quickly that what I had believed from a very long time ago is that, yes, we are encoded at birth, because my family consists of 4 Leos: my sister, my dad, myself, my auntie, and a few other people in my very close circle that I know. And we're all such different Leos. And so I always asked myself the question, well, how come I'm that type of a Leo and my sister is that type of a Leo? Like, how does that happen? And I very quickly saw that human design could possibly hold the answer. So I jumped on because, you know, in the beginning, it's such a foreign concept. So I jumped on and I bought a human design report, and I couldn't wait for it to be delivered in my inbox. And once I received it, it was like somebody held up a mirror. And for the very first time in my life, I felt truly seen. And I started to feel like I had language that I was able to use to articulate who I was. Obviously, a massive turning point for me in my business. And if you know a little bit about human design already, I'm a manifesting generator 1-3. So this was my invitation to dive in, to dive deep, and to possibly not come out for a very long time. And so I did. I started studying human design. I started investing in quite a few courses. And the first course that I've invested in with Phoebe, she was really good at human design and business. And that really opened up a completely new world for me. Now, my business was probably at that point just over a year old. And so for me, I hadn't had the experiences that some of you may have had over the course of many years, where you have tried things, you have followed the big gurus that tell you, follow my principle because it works and I guarantee you 6 or 7 figures, or follow my principle because I tell you that that works and you will get to 6 or 7 figures. I had not been in that position at that point in time. So I was kind of a little bit of a business virgin, I suppose. And I started experimenting around with decision making. I started leaning into some of the basics of what it meant to be a manifesting generator 1-3 with an emotional authority. And I believed very early on that I wasn't really allowed to niche in the traditional sense. And every time one of the coaches that I worked with that told me, you have to niche, I'm like, no, that's actually not in my design. It goes completely against my design. So let me dive a little bit in and let me break down some of the concepts for you, because if you don't know your human design, you definitely should be jumping on my website to run your free human design chart and download your free sample report. That will already start giving you quite a little bit of information about what you may have been feeling in the past. So for me, really, human design is like a energetic operating map to how I am designed to live, to play, to work, and just to be. And so every time now I make a decision or I pivot in my business, I run everything not just through my human design. These days I also run it through my gene keys and my astrology, but that's probably a little bit too deep to dive into today. And I don't really decide anything anymore without consulting it through or running it through my human design. So that's sort of my personal entry point into human design, and how the 1-3 profile has helped me gain a lot of knowledge in this area really quickly, because 1-3s, we're the trial and error people. We are the ones that are the investigators, and when we dive deep into a topic, we probably don't come out for quite some time. So if you work with me and if you say, well, Alice, you've only worked with human design since 2022, I have spent thousands of dollars and I have spent countless hours studying the system, applying it to my business, trialing, adjusting, and then teaching my insights and sharing my insights with the people that I have been working with over the last couple of years. So yes, I do know a thing or two about human design and business. This isn't just another human design explainer that we're going to do today. It really is your permission slip to start building a business that actually matches your energy. When you start living through your human design, there is a couple of worlds that will open. There is doors that will open, and things don't feel like you're constantly pushing stuff uphill. So let's just break down briefly what the different types are. We have generators, we have manifesting generators, we have projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. These are the 5 types that exist within human design. Now, human design is a multifaceted and multi-layered system that is obviously too hard to explain in a 60-minute podcast episode. It will literally take months and months to go into all the different nuances of what human design can help with. But in the sense of business, we can share in a relatively short time frame that in essence generators are here to be the masters at one particular thing. They're the people that, start as a sales assistant and might eventually end up as the vice president of sales in a particular company, because they're the ones that keep refining that one area that they're so interested in, that they're so lit up by, and that provides them with the energy to keep going. Now, I was trying to follow that path as a manifesting generator. I loved marketing and sales. And so I always believed that one day I was going to be on top of the hierarchy in some firm in charge of marketing. But every time I hit about the 18-month mark, something in me said, Alice, this isn't it. You need to try something else. And I got so bored that I had to just follow the call and I had to try something else. So if you look at my CV, it is not linear at all. I jumped from event management to product management to sales to agency, healthcare communications, then I was building apps, then I was helping to build websites. So you can literally see how my path has been non-linear, but it was perfect for a manifesting generator because I gained all the knowledge in so many different areas that are now helping me today in running my business. And so as manifesting generators, we really have to trust the process. And even though sometimes it doesn't make sense what we're doing, but at some stage you look back and you think, yeah, everything fits together, no problem. Then the next one's the projectors, the seers, the improvers, the ones that are not really here to do all the work. You are the ones that need probably one of the biggest permission slips because you believe that you have to do it all in order to be validated, in order to be acknowledged, and in order to live your purpose. And that is so not true. Projectors are here. They have a very limited battery. And so that battery can only really be used over a course of 3 to 4 hours intensely over a day. When projectors work, they do everything so efficiently and so fast that they are much faster in the 3-4 hours that they're working in compared to what I would do, because I get caught up with a shiny object over here and then another shiny object over there. So what takes me 8 hours might only take a projector 2 hours or 3 hours because they're just so focused and they already can see the most efficient way on how to get to the end result. Now, manifestors, they're here to start a revolution. They're here to create a movement. Similarly as to projectors, they're also not here to work day in, day out. They also have a very limited resource in battery, and they're kind of a little bit more like the lone wolves, coming into a project and then going back to working by themselves again. If you try and ask a manifestor to report back to you every step of the process that they have completed as part of a project, it will drive them absolutely bonkers. So please do me the favor, don't try and micromanage a manifestor. It will absolutely backfire. Let them be the lone wolf. It will be the best decision that you have made. And then we've got our beautiful reflectors. Reflectors are so open in their being that they mirror everything back to us on what is working and what is not working. If you are one of the very few reflectors only are about 1% of the world population, then do me a favor, really make sure that you are working in the right environment, that you are with the right people, because you are absorbing and amplifying all the energies of your surroundings in an amplified manner. So hopefully that will start give you a little bit of an indication of sort of that first layer of human design in business. I know that was a very, very short explanation. Obviously, there is so much more to go into when it comes to the types. But it already will give you some indication if you are a solopreneur on how you should be trying to structure your business as quickly as possible. For me as a manifesting generator, yes, I might have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas, but I'm only really designed to do what lights me up. Anything that doesn't light me up drains my battery. The language around the different types is a little bit different as to what either satisfies them or frustrates them. So either what fuels them or what reduces their battery. But in essence, anything that you're not lit up by, you are not supposed to do yourself. So whether that is getting ChatGPT to help you with your business, or whether that is hiring agencies or virtual assistants that will do the tasks for you that you just don't want to do. Because at the end of the day, every one of us is supposed to stay in our particular zone of genius. This is how we can be of highest service to our clients, to the world, and everyone else at large, because we're not trying to stretch ourselves too thin. So I'm hoping that that will make a little bit more sense. We then obviously have another layer, which is the decision making. We'll draw on that a little bit later on in this podcast episode. So as you can already see, it's multifaceted. There is multiple layers, and yes, you can have a look at everything in separation, but obviously once we look at your design in a more cohesive way, we can then say, and this is how it will help you in your business. This is what you need to be careful of. This is what your strengths are. This is how you can articulate to your audience why they should work with you because of that zone of genius that you can operate in. Now, when I work with my clients, I obviously have their initial report, I have their initial human design chart that I have access to, but then I ask them a whole bunch of questions around their life or around their career or around their business that will start giving me an indication where they're either in alignment and what they should be continuing to do, or where they might be out of alignment. Now, as you probably know by now, I adore ChatGPT, but there is limitations to what ChatGPT can give you. If not prompted correctly, it actually delivers you incorrect results. And also, it only amplifies what you're already asking it. So if you're saying, I'm a manifesting generator 1-3, should I be doing X, Y, and Z in my business? Then that is the amount of context that ChatGPT has to provide you with an answer. And obviously that is where the limitation is. So this is really where it becomes beneficial to work with a trained human design coach who can look at your situation more holistically and who can then help you through a bunch of questions, figure out how to set up your business in the most aligned way so you're not burning yourself out along the way. Because let me tell you, business by itself is already hard enough. If you're a solopreneur or even if you're a small business owner, we don't need to make it any more complicated than it really needs to be. I hope that makes sense. Because you all know what it feels like. You either have an offer already or you have a product that you might be wanting to launch, and then the big question arises. Do you launch it as a mastermind? Do you launch it as a subscription model? Do you launch it as a 12-week course or program? Do you turn it into an evergreen? And if you have a look at your human design, it will tell you a whole lot on how you are designed to work and what the best way for you is to honor how you can be on and how you should be on versus what would actually backfire and what you would probably resent after a amount of time, because what you have created simply wasn't in alignment. So I'll give you a little bit of an example here, because I believe that, real life examples can really draw out the magnitude of what human design can provide you with. So as some of you might know, I run a mastermind, and I also run a little entrepreneurs group, and we're meeting on a regular basis in my backyard. The mastermind obviously meets here in the office, and we discuss everything that either works or that doesn't work, or that we're trying, or that we want some feedback on from other people. And so one of the questions for one of my lovely entrepreneur group members has always been, am I designed to work with a few people, or am I designed to go wide? Sometimes it's really hard to draw that out of your human design, because you really have to break every single nuance and every single step down to figure out whether you are supposed to go big and far and wide and global, or whether you're supposed to go deep and VIP. If you were a projector, I would probably say, no, you are designed to go deep and work with a few. But if you are a generator or a manifesting generator and you don't have a 2-line in your profile, then it probably makes it a little bit more complicated to try and figure out how you are supposed to work with people. Now, this particular lady, she had a 2-line in her profile, so that already indicates that obviously she needs to have the ability to retract and to rejuvenate after she has worked with people. But we actually ended up drilling down the nuances. We had a look at her channels. We had a look at her profile line. We had a look at her open centers and her closed centers. And after a while, we figured out, yes, it was in her best interest to work deep with a few people, but then starting to think about the ripple effect impact that she potentially could have. And this is where her second question came in. Should I be a speaker? And again, we had a look at, how is her throat designed? Which gates are in her throat? Again, does she have the energy to be on stage, to be passionate about it? And by asking a couple of questions and really breaking down her human design, we also said, yes, you are designed to be a speaker, but it comes with a caveat, and that is you need to talk about the right topics. And so, if you just chuck that at chat, I believe chat would probably not be able to break that down in a way that it would benefit you unless you had a really super detailed prompt where you could ask it super specific questions so that it could give you that super specific answer, because chat is only as good as the prompt as you give it. So for this particular lady, we were able to say, yes, you are definitely designed to work with a few people, and you are supposed to be working in VIP type offers, masterminds, very small groups, very high ticket. You are also designed to speak, and this is probably where she has the ability to reach wider audiences without working with them directly. And so you could almost see that as her beautiful funnel into her business, into her one-on-ones, because so she would go to a company, she would deliver a talk on, let's say, leadership, and then a couple of people would feel that resonance to what she's talking about and would then probably approach her and say, that really resonated with me, how can I work with you? So that's her particular example. But then I also want to give you another example, which is my own personal example, what I'm currently working through. Now, as I said to you earlier, I'm now drawing on gene keys and astrology as well. So obviously the nuanced detail that I now have access to is a lot deeper than just looking at my human design. But letting the cat out of the bag, I'm working on a bot, and the bot is going to be part of a product called Strategy by Design. And the bot will be able to ask you about your time, place, and date of birth. And then it will draw out your human design, your gene keys, your astrology. It will then have pre-programmed in the background a framework that will help you put together a plan for your business on how to best show up, magnetize, be of service, and go into those exact details so that we can all stop second guessing ourselves. Now, I have gone through the manual process of creating one of those documents for me. In the beginning, they were called my visibility and growth strategy documents. In the meantime, they have now turned into the ultimate business blueprint, because that's essentially what it is. And so I have really been sitting with the question of how do I launch this into the world? Because obviously, when you package a bot into a product, that is still relatively new to the world. So I don't have anyone to compare it to. I can't look at how other people are currently doing it. I can't look at their pricing model. I can't look at, do they go for a subscription model versus not? And whilst I had a look at, how Denise Duffield-Thomas currently runs her money bootcamp, and how some other people are currently running their offers, I had to come back to my human design, because at the end of the day, whatever Denise Duffield-Thomas does or whatever Amy Porterfield does, they're not me. They don't have my design, and I have to come back to what I know in my body. Now, I wanted to potentially launch it as a subscription model where you pay a certain amount per month to make it affordable and to give it to as many people as possible, because I truly believe that this is an absolute game changer for anyone who has been second guessing how they should be of service in their business, and anyone who's clearly thrown spaghetti against the wall for years and has some plan but not really a real plan. And I believe that we're now coming to a time where the whole conversation around, it's just my little business, it's just a hobby, it's just a side hustle. I don't want a side hustle. I want to have a full-blown business that is of service, where I'm making money to fulfill the dreams that I have. I'm completely unapologetic about it, but obviously if you don't follow certain masculine strategies in combination with the energetics and the alignment, chances are you probably won't get there, because you're going to burn yourself out along the way. And so let's break this down. So I have this offer, and I was like, okay, how am I going to bring it into the world? If I just threw this bot at everyone and I said, here you go, they wouldn't know how to use it. It's one of those cases where, people have gotten their first iPhone, they have gone from a Nokia to, their first iPhone, and they're like, how on earth do I use this? It needs a certain amount of explanation and a certain amount of trial and error in order for you to realize how to use this tool. And so then I thought, okay, well, I need to wrap a product around it. So then it became a course. And then the offer really in itself became so different that I thought, no, you know what? I don't want somebody to cancel their subscription after 2 months. I have invested a lot of time and money into this product that I want to provide continued service. I want to provide Q&As. I want to have a Facebook group where people can say, hey, this worked, but this didn't work. Or I tried to chuck this at it and that was the outcome. Or have you got a better prompt here because I'm really stuck with my business here? And so I thought, okay, so I don't want to turn this into a 12-week program where I'm going to teach in the traditional sense of a 12-week group coaching program like many of us already know it. I want to give everyone the opportunity to go in, get their hands dirty, get in the sandpit, play around with it, but then also give everyone a really structured framework on how to work through it and how to extract information that are going to be immediately of benefit to your business. And I really sat with the fact. I said, okay, so do I want to commit myself to a membership program that has no set end date, where I have to be on, because that's the type of person that I am. If I commit to something, I have to be on. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really fit with how I want to live my life moving forward. Stephen and I are working towards spending 3 months per year in Europe. We love traveling, and whenever the opportunity arises, we book ourselves a little adventure and we go. And I don't want to have my calendars blocked with deliveries and with constant showing up in a membership site. I believe that that would eventually backfire on me personally, because I just don't want to have that long-term commitment. So for me, it's now clear. I'm going to launch this as a structured program where the bot is going to sit in it. I'm going to deliver on additional prompts. I'm going to, hold my promise around the Facebook group, but there is going to be certain parameters on how I show up and how I won't show up. And that is in full alignment with my energy. And some of you might say, well, but that's not being of service. It actually is being of highest service, because if I have an overflowing cup, then guess what I can give to my clients? I can give to them more freely, I can give to them more openly, and I can give to them from an overflowing reservoir of creativity and of abundance. Even though I am a manifesting generator, and even though I have all the energy in the world, it doesn't mean that I should be available for absolutely everything and everyone. And so that's the type of discernment that you can get from leaning into your human design with somebody who can then break it down for you and say, this is for you, this is probably not for you. From a projector point of view, I always say to my projectors, if you are currently working one-on-one with people, that's obviously not scalable. And eventually you probably will burn out as well. So if we can extract some of your intellectual property, package it up into, let's say, again, for argument's sake, a 12-week program that you can deliver, that you can eventually turn into an evergreen program, where you then show up once or twice a month through a live Q&A Zoom session where you can either teach or you can answer questions or you can fine tune, and you set the parameters of when and how you want to be on. Again, this is probably being of highest service and honoring your design as a projector. I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have any questions about this, or if this is going way too fast, I absolutely invite you to please send me direct messages either via Instagram or via Facebook, and ask me questions, and I will endeavor to reply to you in a public forum and just explain things a little bit deeper. We haven't even touched on incarnation crosses. So the theme of your life. The theme of your life can really give you a lot of great insights into how you are supposed to interact with the world and what that theme is. So for me, the theme is enthusiasm, commitment, devotion. And so it means that whatever I start, I need to have the absolute clarity that I can't do things 99% committed. I have to give it my absolute 100% commitment. So for me, as an emotional authority, I have to ride my emotional wave, and I have to sit with it long enough and say, well, does this excite me for the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months? Do I believe that I can commit fully to it? Because only through my personal enthusiasm can I gather people around me, get them enthused about a particular topic, and I can then be of service through what I am delivering. So we're all not here to really play it safe. We're all here to be bold individuals in our own personal right. But for whatever reason, we have all been told back in the days that we had to be small, we had to keep it safe, we're not allowed to, stand out from the crowd, we're not allowed to do this, we're not allowed to do that. I touched on that a little bit during my first solo podcast episode. So I'm really here to inspire and initiate that I can't even talk, that emotional transformation through devotion and through truth. And you will be able to feel into everything that all of us do and see what is the energetic signature behind it. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel like you want to immediately jump up and, grab a pen and paper or jump on someone's website and run your human design chart and find out more about it? How does a conversation make you feel? How does it leave you? And so this is really the difference between people who are in their energetic alignment and people who are not. Now, I'm not saying that just by reading my human design report, I immediately felt like, I could be this big, bold, beautiful being that I'm striving towards becoming. No, there was all this self-doubt. And I was like, well, but who am I? Like, I was raised to be this. And like, who says I can be a leader? Who says that I can stand for something? Who says that I can rally people to suddenly become excited about strategy in their business? But you have to surround yourself by people who can already see that in you, even if you can't see it. And then step by step, you just have to trial and you have to refine and you have to, like yesterday, was it yesterday? No, on Wednesday, the mastermind, we had this beautiful conversation around, well, what do you do if you are scared? Or what do you do if your inner beings, however you want to call them, whether that's your inner child or whoever that might be, what if somebody inside of you says, but I'm scared. I don't know what is going to happen if I do this. What if I put myself out there? What if I say that, I'm now selling a product under my name, or if I want to start a business? And then you just have to gather everyone and you just have to say, it is okay. We are going to be okay. And that's not going to be easy. And, every single day you will have to anchor your vision in your heart. You have to visualize it. You have to see it inside of you. And you need to find the courage, the motivation, and the energy and the people who will ask you to get out of bed on the days where you would rather crawl up under your blanket. I'm not saying that those days you can't have. Of course, I have days where I'm lying in my bed crying and I'm like, I'm going to give this all up. I'm going to go back and, being in employment. But then, I don't know, 2 hours later, I'm like, no, I'm not. I've got too much of a bigger purpose to live and to share than being sucked into another 6-figure salary in a corporate environment that will suck the daylights out of me. And my beautiful inner light that I have just uncovered and that I've just sort of, I've just removed all that paper mache that was stuck to my beautiful light. I don't want to have that covered again. And so I have really made it my mission and my devotion to try and uncover as many lights as I possibly can. And every time I have a conversation with someone around their human design, and every time I go to an expo and I'm like, I'm just going to give you a free quick reading. Yes, I know we won't be able to go into everything, but this is what I'm seeing. This is what you're here to do. And then you see suddenly their eyes light up and something awakens in them and they're like, oh, so I can actually dream. I'm actually allowed to be that. Yes, you are. And you only need to give yourself permission to do that. So if you need the permission slip, then you have the permission slip right here, right now. Go for it. So I said we were going to talk about decision making as well. And so decision making, everyone always says go with your gut. It's not always just go with your gut. There is so many different nuances on how your gut speaks to you and how you can honor that within your business. Decision making is one of the most important aspects in your business. Can you trust yourself? Can you trust your decisions? When you have an opportunity to invest, when you have an opportunity to partner with someone, do you actually know how to tap into your body wisdom to see whether that is in alignment or whether that is not? So we obviously have the sacral, we have the splenic, we have the ego, the mental, and we have the emotional authorities in our human design. For me as an emotional, I already touched on it a little bit, there is no truth in the now. So I already know that if I have not been aware of something and suddenly someone says to me, do you want to come and collaborate with me on it? I actually have to ask them for permission to just give me a little bit of time to think about it, to go through the information that has been presented to me and to see whether that is something that lights me up or whether it doesn't. Because otherwise I overcommit, otherwise I jump straight into the opportunity and then I regret it. And then I'm like, how do I get out of that now without losing face? For anyone who has a sacral decision making or authority, obviously for you, it's that gut instinct. It's the true sense of listen to your gut. You're allowed to do that, no problem. For anyone who has a splenic authority, it's a quiet little whisper, and that whisper is always concerned with your personal well-being. So your system will always tell you if something is healthy for you to continue to do. And then we have our ego, G, and mental authorities. And those people are here to talk things out. So if you have that friend who always needs to talk things out, maybe they're not insecure. Maybe they are just designed in a way that they need to talk things through to then listen back to the vibration of that in order for them to gain the clarity and to make that decision. So for me, really, human design is an opportunity to step further into who you are designed to be. It's a growth map. It's an opportunity to stop second guessing. And second guessing costs you so much. Inaction costs you so much. That's wobble energy. You're not giving the universe clear symbols, clear signals. If you are like, I'm not sure, I'm second guessing my decision here, I'm second guessing my decision there, that is not manifestation. Manifestation comes from knowing. It comes from clearly taking aligned action towards something that it is that you're excited about, that you want. So for you, I would really love you to run your chart if you haven't already done so. Read the sample report or read the full report that you have and really start thinking about what can I draw out that I can experiment with over the next couple of weeks in my business that I haven't done before. Projectors, perhaps you start to figure out this whole having to wait for an invitation. It doesn't mean for you to just sit around and wait. It actually means that you need to create yourself opportunities where you can then be invited. For all of you, where is the low-hanging fruit that is currently everywhere around you that you just can't see? So I would love for you to comment, to share what have been some of your biggest learnings when it comes to human design. Are you struggling with applying human design in your business? Do you need a little bit of help around that? Would you like some prompts for ChatGPT that can help you get a little bit more clarity? Let me know what it is that you need and that you want. That will help you get your business moving forward, to take that guesswork out of it, to take the second guessing out of it, so that you can really make 2025 your year. It's the 25th of April. I have no idea how we got to this time. I believe the podcast episode is probably going to be published at some stage next week. It's almost May, which means it's almost the end of this financial year, and it's almost time to start planning what seeds do you now want to bring out for this next financial year? Are you just going to repeat what you have done, which is probably going to get you the same results? Because that's just insanity to do the exact same thing and expect something to be different. Or are you willing to lean into something that perhaps might be a little bit uncomfortable, that might be a little bit new, but in your body, you will know what feels right. And there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with what you're selling. a lot of times it just needs a little bit of tweaking to get you excited about it again, to make sure that it's in alignment with who you are. You know, tickle out, there's a little bit of extra nuance, there's a little bit of extra boldness out of you that you have been too afraid to embrace because somebody in your life told you that you're not good enough or that you're not knowledgeable enough. You are all here to ignite a flame and a fire in somebody else. And this is what I truly believe very, very deep in my heart. For all of us that are either spiritual or heart-led or whatever other language that you would like to utilize, we're all here, we all run a business because we believe in something bigger than just what we have ourselves. And if I can be of assistance to you to be a bit bolder in what it is that you do, it will create a massive ripple effect and it will have a massive impact on how we're going to live on this planet. And that's what I'm really, really excited about. I know that a lot of us can currently get caught up in all the news, everything that is around us, everything that could impose fear, but I don't subscribe to those things. I am aware of them. I'm aware of what happens in the world, but I'm also here to protect the light that I carry and to ignite the flame in other people. And that means that I have to be discerning as to what I consume and what I don't consume. So again, this is your invitation to just play around with your human design. If you are running your business without knowing it, I believe you're running it blindfolded. You can do that if you like, but I just like to, have a little bit more guidance around what it is that I'm doing so I can stop second guessing. And I'm hoping that you are going to do the exact same thing. So thank you very much for today. Love to get your feedback. Give me your insights so that I know what to touch on during future solo podcast episodes, because I would really love to help you run your business in a more aligned manner. All right. I'll see you guys all soon.